flexed in the knees, but they're stiff, but they're straight but not stiff. We're going to be talking about strikes a little later in the video, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity to just feel how you would move from a kamae. So from the Shizen no Kamae, I'm right here, I'm being threatened with a sword. I'm going to knock the sword out of the way. So you can see that from the natural position, it's very easy to move and to hit. So Shizen no Kamae, get used to practicing, as with all these kamaes, going to different strikes. And there's different ways to strike from here too. We can be striking up underneath from the Shizen no Kamae. We can be taking it back and doing a lot of different kinds of strikes from this position, and that's the way you should practice. Don't think in terms of technique, think in terms of how do I move from one position to the next. Okay, the next kamae is Seigan no Kamae. To go to Seigan no Kamae from Shizen no Kamae, it's very simple. You just move your foot back, this hand at your waist. This stick is kind of pointing up at the person's throat perhaps, or eyes. The best way to do it is to work with a partner, and I'd say, Kevin, is this pointing? Can you see the stick?
Boy, it's difficult to determine the length.
Right. The point is, if I'm pointing right at the person's eyes, and you have to work with your training partner to get this, but you want it pointing at his eyes so that when he looks down the stick, it's hard for him to understand how long the stick is, and therefore how much stick that you have. So here's the Seigan no Kamae, and the other side. From here, shouldn't turn my back on him probably with a sword. This is right here, relaxed. And I found that if you point kind of at his throat, it really is kind of feels like he's pointing at his eyes to the person that you're working with. And from here, Seigan no Kamae. Shizen no Kamae, Seigan no Kamae. Relaxed. Foot's pointing toward the target. This foot's at a 90-degree angle. Seigan. Here's how we would hit from Seigan, perhaps. I'm here. And you can see that I'm going to a modified Seigan on the other side. My hands are a little bit different, but the angle of the stick is the same. I'm not holding it tight. I'm holding it just hard enough. Okay, one more time. Okay, let's look at it from the other side, Kevin, thanks. And that's Seigan no Kamae. The next technique is called, actually the next kamae is called Hira Ichimoji no Kamae. And if you remember Hira no Kamae and Ichimoji no Kamae, it's kind of a combination of that. It's like a very open kind of feeling. The bow is looking in a position like the Japanese #1, and we're just standing very relaxed here. Sometimes the fingers are pointing out, which helps control it with the particular knuckle, but it's not necessary. And from this position, I'm going to ask Jason and Jeff to demonstrate Hira Ichimoji no Kamae with hanbo, just so we can break it up, get something a little different looking here. So there's Jason, Hira Ichimoji no Kamae. When Jeff went to punch him, he could just slide very easily up there and smack him on the wrist. Can you guys turn around so that they can see both sides? So there's the Hira Ichimoji, and he can just slide that right up there and hit that wrist like that from the Hira Ichimoji no Kamae. And now he looks like he's in Seigan, doesn't he? One more time. He's going from Hira Ichimoji no Kamae up into Seigan no Kamae, so we've actually hit 2 kamae here with a 1 shot. Okay, the next one that we're going to talk about is Yoko Ichimoji no Kamae. And Yoko Ichimoji no Kamae is sideways. It's just instead of facing this way, we face this way. Hand can be this way, but usually this way. Usually this way. Okay? If Kevin-san is attacking me here, I'm moving up to him like this. And if he were to come up and try to hit me, I'm moving out of the way, whoa, 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 and I can just spin it right around like that. Okay? One more time. And we're moving through here. From Hira Ichimoji no Kamae. Can we turn it around? Again. Hira Ichimoji no Kamae, Yoko Ichimoji no Kamae. Tenchi no Kamae, kind of interesting Kamae. Feet are at a 90-degree angle. The hands up here like this. And if you grab a Joe from Tenchi no Kamae, and Jeff's the attacker here, he can do a number of things. One thing that he can do that's kind of interesting is he can just put the stick on the ground and slap his foot. So that's a very interesting attack, maybe unexpected from Tenchi no Kamae. But also you could take it from there and strike at his head. So Tenchi no Kamae is a very good Kamae too. And I use it very often when I'm trying to back up and draw someone into an attack. So if I was working with Kevin again, thanks guys. If I was working with Kevin again and I felt that I wanted to draw him in, you can see that he starts to, as soon as I do that, he starts to move toward me and I can catch his timing. One more time. So we're kind of at a standstill here, but I move back here, draws him in, and I catch his timing. And then I can go straight into that, back into Tenchi. Okay? So that's Tenchi no Kamae. This section of the tape covers the basic strikes with a stick, and you're going to see that we're going to mix and match the bo, the hanbo, and the jo together, and that's because all of these strikes are applicable with all these different sticks, and it's not a technique per stick or certain techniques go with certain sticks, nothing like that. I think you need to practice, and I practice doing these kind of strikes with all different kinds of sticks and all different lengths of sticks. The first technique is the tsuki, or just a straight strike or poke with the stick. Okay, Jeff, can you turn toward me and do the same thing? Okay, a couple things that Jeff's doing that's very important is one, his front arm is straight. And he's just letting the stick ride through his hand very easily. This is just really not for holding it or thrusting, but just for guiding the front of the stick. The other thing he does is he uses his legs. You see how he's using his legs along with the thrusting motion. And the third thing that he does is his right hand is twisting a little bit so that the strike comes in and twists. Can you see how his hand is twisting the stick? So it's really a three-dimensional strike. The stick is coming in at you, but when it hits, oh, it's also twisting. And that catches the person's clothing, or may even injure or tear the skin. And it really gives that three-dimensional shocking effect, impact for the stick. So do that one more time. That's great, okay? So I'm going to ask Kevin to work with me here, and let's look at one of these strikes, kind of how it would happen in context of the fight. Kevin is threatening me with a sword, and I'm trying to get it, this is to, and to shove him through. Now I'd like to get a close-up, if you can see this, as this stick comes through, we're going to do this slowly. It's going to come in, and as you can see, it's turning, and can you see how that's starting to twist his uniform? We want to get that twist in there as well. Okay, so that's an important point of the tsuki. The next technique is the thrust, and I'm going to ask Jeff to demonstrate this. The thrust is about the same thing, along the same line as the tsuki or the stab, but it's the front arm that does the work, and it's the back arm that does the guiding this time. So it's just the opposite there, Jeff. Okay, good. All right, and you can see he's doing the same thing. His arm becomes straight, and he turns it a little bit at the end. And this arm is not holding stiff; it's just guiding the stick forward. So I'm going to ask Kevin to work with me on the thrust. And again, you can imagine this easily with a yari, how this would work. And so we're moving here, and I'm kind of thrusting, you know, maybe I'm doing my little kind of warm up with my, this looks more like the tsuki or the stab, right? And hip, bam, there we go. You can see how I changed right into that thrust, and I changed directions a little bit. Let's do that a little bit slower, Kevin. So I maybe throw a couple of these skis out. Then I'm taking the thing back here like I was withdrawing, which may have him enter a little bit, and I change the direction on him and I impale him. And it's important that I can control this with my body. I don't want to get to the point where I hit him and then I can't control the stick itself. So it's very important with this thrust that I line my body up and I can control this and continue to push him forward. Okay? So that's the thrust. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to have what we were talking about before this, strike to the wrist, but we worked with Hira no Kamae before. Let's concentrate on the striking of the wrist. So when Jason punches, oh, there he goes. You can see that he's striking right into that wrist. No wind up, no baseball, bat type of a thing. One more time. Strike goes straight up and into there. And the important parts here are one, okay, going back. The important parts are one, you notice that he's not winding up at all. Once he decides to hit, the stick goes directly from point A to point B. Boom, right there. So it's very direct. There's no telegraphing. There's no indication that's going to happen. So this person is probably going to be caught by surprise. Secondly, he's now in a good Seigan position. But the strike, you want to hit right into these delicate nerve endings and small veins and things in the wrist here. So the target, you got to be pretty accurate in the target, and his angle that he's using is very good here. Okay, could you do that one more time? Okay, very nice. The next strike is to the head. Okay, so this time when he goes to hit, strike is up to the head. One more time. Okay. Now the place that we want to hit here is pretty much similar, but the place we want to hit here is right here, the corner of this eye, right in that small temporal bone, I think they call it. And you have to work on your accuracy there, and the accuracy is a function of the distance and your kamae and your angle here. So you want to hit right on that temporal bone because that's the place where you're going to do the most effective damage. Thanks. I remember reading some archaeological information about Japanese battlefields, and what they did was they actually went back to places where, you know, hundreds of years ago there was these huge battles, these Japanese armies battling each other, and they went and they looked from an archaeological standpoint at the bones and how the people that died and were left there, how they were died. And the vast majority of them, the killing blow, the #1 most effective killing blow, if you will, was this strike to the temporal bone there. And you crushed that, and that was the end of the fight for that guy. So, you know, that's an important strike. Kevin, can I do this one with you? May I have a bow? I'm going to switch around here. And again, as Kevin comes to attack me with that sword, comes down, I want to strike right into that bone. You can see that I'm far enough away that if something goes wrong, I'm safe. And I'm using this right here to hit right there and also knock off ladybugs from people's arms. So, so the important part here is the distance, the timing, the angling. I'm safe from the sword, and a very accurate strike right to that temporal bone. That's the important thing. The next technique is hana-age, and I think Kevin and I will do this one together. Hana-age, I believe, was